lot of films, in particular horror films, have those water cooler moments that people talk about. And that sort of spreads the mythology about the movie. If you haven't seen it, you have to go see it. And if you did see it, you have a very, very strong opinion about it. And that opinion is either shared with other fellow horror nerds.
This is standard horror movie stuff.
Or disputed by people who maybe don't love horror or just don't agree. So it becomes this hotbed of debate. Either you're friends for life because you love the scanner's exploding head, or you're all of a sudden at arms with a friend because they thought it was too gross. And then you just say, what are you talking about? That's impossible.
I don't know which came first, my fear of being in the shower with my eyes closed or me watching Psycho.
I remember leaving the theater and being scared to walk from the theater to my car because I was scared of Ghostface and of the world.
It changed who I was. Like, I felt my DNA being unwound and then rewound into something different at that exact moment.
There's something about a jump scare. If it's well done, it affects the entire room.
That was one of the moments that,
oh, honey, please. I could not sit through it. I have goosebumps.
When we were filming it, we had to imagine what was going on. So when I saw it in the theater, I was like, oh my God, it was fantastic.
I think all of us who work in the industry spend all of our time revisiting these scenes that have seared their way into our imagination the first time we ever saw them. Scenes that you see one time and will never forget. We love them, we discuss them, we dissect them, we try to understand what makes them work mechanically and logistically. But it's something intangible, it's something emotional, it's nothing you can kind of cynically recreate.
There are so many elements that make the perfect horror moment. I mean, you really have to get drawn in by the effectively creepy atmosphere, the camera setups, the lighting. Even silence sometimes plays its own character where you're straining to listen and you're really getting sucked into the moment. And then whether it's a jump scare or something that's almost inaudible and eerie and creepy and suspenseful. I mean, those are the moments that really shake you to your core and stay with you after the film is finished and you're left in awe and terror of what you just witnessed.
These days, to kind of be an iconic scene in a horror movie, you kind of have to think of it as what would the animated GIF be? Jack Nicholson acts into a door, putting his face in and saying, here's Johnny.
Here's Johnny!
Even if they've never seen the movie, they can just go, that's The Shining. And that's what makes it iconic, is something that permeates culture, even for people that don't even know where it's from.
That iconic line of dialogue.
What's your favorite scary movie?
That iconic death.
It's all for you!
That iconic special effect. It's those movies that really stick with you. There's no other genre that you feel that presence, you feel that memory of the movie sticking with you.
Horror movies have a wonderful way of making you know that you'll be okay. You're kind of indulging in these feelings of powerlessness and fear. They're like roller coasters where you get to the top of that hill and you're like, why did I do this? I should not have done this. Here I go, I'm doing it. Here I go. But I'm gonna be all right. Oh, it's good to get that out of the system. That's what I love about horror movies. It does strike this primal terror and yet lets you know, like, you'll be okay. You'll be all right. You'll survive. Enjoy your popcorn.
Horror movies always have iconic moments that people remember.
Forever and ever.
Either fondly or with fear. Imagery has a great deal to do with what people remember about horror films, and also sound. Sound is a major component. Depending on what the image is, you can play it contrapuntally with something that doesn't match the image, or something that overpowers the image. Or maybe when there's no sound at all, which sometimes can be even scarier.
What makes an iconic horror scene to me is something that surprises you. That is usually something you've never seen before and hits you in a very physical way rather than an intellectual way. It's easy to make you go boo, but it's not so easy to see something that you've never seen before that is particularly shocking.
It's only going to grow more and more challenging for filmmakers to shock, awe, terrify, and move audiences because our predecessors have already pushed boundaries, and you could go from Whale all the way to Kubrick, Carpenter, up into the living legends that are working right now. There are people who are breaking down and pushing boundaries and scaring us in ways we've never been scared before. That's awesome. But it's gonna get harder and harder. And that's good. I think that that will make for great cinema.
With many films, but particularly with horror films, there are images that stay with you forever. And I always find it fascinating how long they're actually on screen. I always think about that with the film Black Narcissus. There's a scene towards the end of the film where Sister Ruth reappears. And in my head, that was like a whole scene. When I rewatched it, it was on screen for 1.5 seconds. But the image of it was burned into my brain forever. So that's a testament to the power of images within a film. And from like movie to movie, most of the things you'll talk about within this series, there are different reasons why you remember something. And obviously with the horror genre, a lot of these moments are trading in sheer nightmare fuel, all of the terrors of your subconscious made flesh.
It doesn't seem to matter whether it's a terribly good movie or not. My friend Mike Fennell, who's produced many of my movies, used to tell me about this scene that he saw in a movie when he was a kid that was so terrifying. It was a guy in a cape, and a light came down on him, and he fell down on the cape, and he was a skeleton. And I said, Mike, that's from Plan 9 from Outer Space. When you're a kid, you don't have those kind of value judgments. It's just the imagery that gets you, and it stays with you. I mean, those giant ants from Them, I still see them in my bad dreams.